we have as a former director of the SETI Institute in America, which is the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, and the co-founder of that institution. So before I, start rambling, Jill, maybe you want to talk a little bit to our audience just about, who you are, what you did, and yeah, just introduce yourself.
Okay, right. Well, I'm formally retired, so my job description would be chief cheerleader for all things SETI. But I got an undergraduate degree in engineering physics from Cornell, a PhD in astrophysics from UC Berkeley. And I got into SETI kind of by accident. So my first year as a graduate student, I was supported to program the first desktop computer we ever had. Now, it took two of us to get it up on the desktop, but once it was there, you could use it, but there was no language. So you had to program the computer in octal. You had to set all the ones and zeros for each of the 11 instructions this computer could do.
Oh my.
And I learned that. I thought it was a lot of fun. And I programmed it to run an optical telescope at an observatory that UC Berkeley had for teaching. And then many, many, many years later, right, I was about to leave graduate school, and this piece of equipment was old and obsolete and surplus. So one of the professors at Berkeley, an X-ray astronomer by the name of Stu Boyer, had been following the workshops that had been conducted at NASA Ames Research Center about looking for life beyond Earth. And he got really excited because they were suggesting using a radio telescope to listen for signals that were engineered as opposed to astrophysical. And he said, UC Berkeley has a radio telescope in Northern California. And so he came to my office because he had no funds. So he'd been scrounging equipment, and somebody had given him this old computer and pointed out that I was still here and that I had worked with it. So he came to my office and recruited me to join his project. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm here in exactly the right place at the right time with the right set of engineering and astronomy skills, so that maybe I could make a difference in trying to answer this very old human question about, are we alone? And so I started working for Stu on this project, and then went from there to NASA Ames Research as a postdoc, and went over to John Billingham, who was running these fledgling discussions about life beyond Earth, and said, I'd like to volunteer for you. And that was it. I mean, I just started doing SETI and I never stopped.
Wow.
That's amazing. And how was this project initially received by the greater scientific community initially? Like, was there kind of a pushback on maybe we should be doing other things, or
yeah, there was quite a bit of pushback, and it was sort of people would look at me and say, what's a nice girl like you doing in a science like this? We spent a lot of time in our first years trying to make a distinction between this scientific exploration that we were proposing and conducting and all of the pseudoscience garbage from UFOs and other crazy ideas, right? We had to really stress the fact that this was being done in a rigorous fashion, the way you would do any scientific exploration. And the fact that the public and other professionals were willing to have a belief system that was based on stories and wild tales rather than actual evidence was something we struggled with.
Right.
So it's less so today, fortunately. But whenever anybody asks me what I believe about life beyond Earth, I keep trying to tell them that belief is the wrong verb, right? To explore is the correct verb, because if I tell you what I believe, it doesn't change the universe. The universe is as it
Right.
is, and there is an answer to this question. Um, and we're
Mhm.
doing science rather than religion. So uh, we continue to try and stress a scientific exploration.
So during the time
Mhm.
that I guess this institution was like when SETI originally started, was there, I mean, because you were talking about backlash with like, a lot of people because a lot of the belief system was around, these UFOs. And so how did you, I guess like, was it like a process, or what was the process of getting people's minds to think we're not trying to look for these UFOs and these weird things, like we are doing scientific research here? Like, was there a transitionary process, like from the average human thinking SETI is just, oh, it's just looking for UFOs here and there, to, oh, it's actually looking for alien life scientifically? Like, was there a transition?
No, I mean, it's a continuing, it's ongoing. The process is always ongoing. And you just have to say to people, well, why do you why do you think that? What evidence do you have? Who's shown you what data?
Mm-hmm.
Um, because if our group ever tells you that we have detected evidence of extraterrestrial technology, you can be absolutely sure that we will provide you with, an enormous amount of data to back up that extraordinary claim. So it's ongoing, and
Mhm.
for me, the science itself, the science and engineering and technology involved in this search is so much more interesting than the stories.